Use the side of my hand. We can cruise if you have to, if there's not time. I started making these shapes because I wanted to kind of break out of the round and play with some new shapes. I was inspired by way back when by a potter by the name of Donovan Palmquist, who made some extra long, what do you call fish dishes, I believe. And I always thought they were really cool. And so I just, over the years, have been gradually kind of developing this form. And so today I'm just going to do a little bit larger version and share all the little things I've learned up until this point about this particular form. I'll wheel wedge a little bit. And the idea is that you want to center really wide and have very little floor, if any, in the end. So I'll just kind of come down with that pad underneath my pad of my hand underneath my right pinky here. Let's do a lot of the work here. Supporting with the left heel, and getting down as low as I can, and draw the clay back, leaving a mass on the edge. I don't worry too much if it gets a little out of center. You can work with that. And then I'll come down one more time with the pad of my hand, get as much clay out and over. Kind of hold that. Then I'll come down. In this case, I'm opening up at first with my finger normally. Then I'm going to use both my thumb and my finger to kind of apply pressure to the clay and get as much of that floor clay up into the sidewall as possible. This is because, you know, I'm just going to cut this away anyway, so I might as well use as much of this clay as I can. Okay, so we have most of the clay is off the floor and up into this giant donut. I'll draw up, support it with my left heel, kind of smooth out the whole form, and then just kind of draw up and just get the clay kind of coming slightly up and taper it in from the start here. And then I can do most of the work with a pull on the right side. In this case, I use this first couple inches of my pointer finger to control the clay. The key with these is that although there is no floor, I want to have a little boot or a little bit of the floor right on the bottom edge. So if my hands are like this, this would be the inside wall of the piece. This allows you to connect it to a separate floor after it's been shaped into an oval or whatever shape you're going to do. I'll just do like a normal pull here, not worrying about that boot at this point. Draw that clay up and in. And here I'll begin thinking about how I want to treat the lip. And lately I've been kind of working with the lip kind of tapered slightly to the inside, fattened up a little bit. So it has another like little plane on the inside of the lip. Gives some visual interest and lightens up the visual weight. Come up once more. Now I'm pushing out from the inside, holding my ground on the outside, create a little boot on the inside. And then I'll just kind of plow up and in, slight angle. I don't know, 10 or 15 degrees, just a slight angle. Again, point that lip. I'll do one more just to make sure I've got the wall, the thickness I like. And then I'll kind of define that little boot. I'll just use, the edge of the whale tool here and kind of cut a line in so that boot has an edge. And then I'm finding that because I'm picking these pieces up right away, if I run the rib before I take care of the outside, if I run the rib up the inside of the piece and just remove a lot of the slip, I can get a better grip on the piece. So I'll do that. And then remove just a little bit of clay on the outside. I don't want to undercut here. I'm using all that clay when I attach to the slab. I'll come in with the rib and just profile it nice and simple, smooth it out, and give just a little bit of a taper here right at the lip for some visual interest. And smooth out the lip here slightly. And that's as much as needs to happen at this stage. Now, I cut through here. And you're careful. And you get a lot of your surface area on your hand to the inside. Kind of squeeze a little bit. Lift one edge up, lift the other. You want to bring it around. You kind of catch one edge, catch the other, get it even. Set it down. And let that kind of set up a little bit. Then I can do some shaping to this overall form. So that's set for now. And then balls out of it. And it might be even more clay than I need for sure, but it'll give me plenty to work with. So again, I can just clean this off. And the key here is, yes, theoretically you could make a kind of a thrown slab and use that for a floor. But I've found out, and also was given the advice by another potter by the name of Mary Lou Alberetti, who was a retired Southern Connecticut State University professor, who highly suggested throwing your slab floors so that they don't crack on you when the piece is drying. So I've kind of just stuck to that since I have experienced them crack before I spoke to Mary Lou. Anyway, so these go pretty quickly. I'll just wheel wedge it once so I have good control of the clay, right? When you're bringing the clay down, even though I'm pushing down, I'm supporting from the side and allowing that clay to spread out. I'm trying not to catch any air or water to the underside. Again, using the pad at the side of the base of your hand here. Flatten it out, drive down, draw it over. You can get a good feel for about how thick it is. It's on the thick side right now. I might need to remove some clay. We're in pretty good shape. Actually, it might be okay because I'm using a thicker wire. I might just leave it at this thickness. So once I've got it flattened out, I like to just run a rib over it and remove that slip and smooth it out. And then the last thing I do here on the wheel as far as the making part is I'll just run my thumb underneath the clay to lift it slightly so I can have a little bit easier access when I'm wiring it. And I really must find a thin wire for this. Does anybody see a thin wire around? Perfect, thanks. Appreciate it. And then, because I lifted it up a little bit, I should be able to get around this piece. Actually, I'm going to take it off the wheel heads. Limit it a little bit by the lip of the wheel. Oh. Draw that. And then I have another board I can show you what's next. One more board. So, because that other piece is elongated a little bit, I might not have quite enough clay here to create a full floor. So I just take it, just give it a side toss like we did in hand building. And that elongates it enough that my other piece will fit on that nicely. So what I do is I let these both set up together, connect them like later on today, most likely tomorrow. I'll keep bags of them overnight.